I read that book in one day, literally before my audition, my very first audition in life, which was to be a weatherwoman. And like, you know, I'm so thankful for my ability to talk like this. Like, this is not always me. When I was growing up, when I was in college, I was like shy. I had stage fright. I did not like public speaking at all. I would get like jitters before, you know, class presentations. And so I'm literally like, I'm a living example of like, if you just practice the shit out of something, you can excel at it. Because like, I never imagined growing up that I'd be able to, you know, like, never mind TV, live TV, but just being able to like speak confidently.
Hi, Raquel.
Hi, Pani.
So happy to have you here finally.
I am so happy to be here. This is so fun.
I hit you up how many months ago? Like so many months ago. I asked you to come on the podcast.
Yeah, it's been, I think, over half a year now.
You might have to pull that a little bit closer to you.
Is this good?
Yeah, like about a fist away. Yeah, that's good. Perfect.
Is this good?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has over half a year.
But in your defense, I did hit you up like right in the middle of quarantine, and I was like,
yes,
hey.
I was one of those like really annoying quarantiners who just insisted on being totally isolated. Like, I'm kind of a hypochondriac, so I was kind of freaked out, like, you know, in the middle of it. So I was in total isolation, which is why Sneaky Hacks even was born in the first place, because I was just like totally zeroed in, had like tunnel vision, and just like dove into psychology.
So this was like a new like hobby for you picked up during quarantine?
You mean TikTok? Yes.
Learning psychology.
Oh, no. I mean, I think psychology has always been, I know it's been something that's inherently been of interest to me since I was like a kid. I just didn't really know that it was like psychology, like a label. But, you know, I'm like an avid people watcher. I am an empath for sure. So and I like I guess observing group dynamics, and you know, also whenever I met someone when I was younger, like I would be able to pick up on what their potential is, which I know sounds like really deep and intense, but I seem to have that intuition.
Yeah.
I'm an INFJ. I don't know if you're into Myers-Briggs, but
a whole yes.
Yeah. I'm guessing you would be.
Yeah.
So
I actually
INFJs,
have my guests take the test usually before they come on.
I love that. That's such a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm like obsessed with, you know, any kind of personality test.
Yeah.
But INFJ, yeah. So like we're weird and perceptive. So I had this habit, you know, since I was young, just really wanting to tell people their potentials after meeting them, even if it was in like a short period of time. Yeah, because I find that stuff interesting. So yeah, I think that interest has been there just naturally since I was a kid, and
you just learned
just
more
throughout
about
life.
it.
Yeah, and it's funny, and I think it's ironic because psychology, I think, has this kind of bad rep when it comes to like school, like people who have psychology degrees. Like, unless you're going to be a psychologist, at least I always heard that, oh, it's like a useless degree or something. But I think that's so untrue. I think psychology is so applicable in so many ways in everyday life and in practical matters. So
yeah,
I wanted
100%.
to bring that to the forefront and make it as practical as possible.
Yeah, I love that. No, and it's very true.
Mm-hmm.
But it also is true that like if you're not trying to, you do have to get your degree. If you want to like actually like run your own research, which is like you know the highest level, like you have to get your PhD.
Oh yes, yeah.
But,
if you want to be a psychologist, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm not, by the way. Which is another funny thing because I know you know, my Sneaky Hacks has the word psychology in it. But another thing that I want to, you know, kind of be an advocate for is not gatekeeping information and being able to talk about psychology, you know, whether you have a degree or not, because it is such a widely experienced area of thought. And,
or anything doesn't necessarily have to be psychology. Like if you're into molecular
biology,
what was that so hard for me to say?
I have the same problems too. I can't speak English sometimes.
Yeah, it's like whatever you're into, like you don't have to have the degree.
Yeah.
Like let's say you just picked up enough books.
Yeah.
And you read enough and you studied enough to know enough to then want to like, you know, help other people, educate other people, or even just like as a hobby, like, why not? Why do you have to have a PhD in it?
No, I mean, obviously, if you're talking about mental health, that's a completely different thing. You know, like clinical diagnosis, I mean, that's totally different. But what I talk about more so is to do with like, you know, everyday smarts. Yeah. Or, you know, knowing how to use your emotions in a way that will get you farther as opposed to, you know, inhibiting you from, you know, like growing and maturing, which is essentially emotional intelligence. And I just feel like there's so many areas that psychology can be applied to. So, I have a passion for that because I like to see people do well. Like I have like a very pure, I guess, like innocent type passion for seeing people thrive in their potential. That really is like very satisfying to me. So
it's your rare INFJ blood.
Yeah, I know. We're called advocates.
Yeah,
but I'm also like an INFJ ENFJ cusp. So sometimes I'm extroverted, but I think I'm mostly an introvert. So I sometimes switch according to the mood. What are you?
Oh, no.
You don't remember?
No, I do. I'm an ENTP.
Oh, my God. Stop. We're supposed to be like the perfect match.
We are. And I am completely in the market for an INFJ guy. Like, I will not date an INFJ guy. Like, I'm waiting.
Yeah. You should wait because, I think it's either ENTP or ENFP. For me, that is like my perfect match.
Well, ENTP and ENFP are in the same category usually.
Yeah, they are.
Because they're so similar.
Yeah.
And INFJ and INTJ are the best match for ENTPs is what's told. But quite honestly, like every INTJ I've met in my life, we have not really.
No way, really?
Hit it off. Yeah, no. The way they say which personality types are compatible are mainly your out views. Right?
Oh,
so the way you view the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which can vary.
And that's very important. Don't get me wrong. But then a lot of times, like, your temperament might not match with someone. So, like, for example, INTJs are also pretty rare. So a few of them that I've met have not really felt like, ooh, we could. Even, like, girl INTJs. It's always been like, I don't know. You know why? Because INTJs tend to be very serious people. They're masterminds. And ENTPs are like the class clown. They're the jokesters, the pranksters. So it's that is what like something that brings a lot of difficulty to a relationship like that. When someone is very serious.
Yeah.
And like, you know, just very like business, all about business and all about, you know. Yeah. And it's like, don't be childish, don't be foolish. And like ENTPs are very playful.
Yeah.
You know?
So you're saying INTPs are really serious and ENTPs are?
INTJs.
Oh, INTJs.
INTJs.
Okay, so there's a J in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you said, INFJs are the advocates.
Yeah.
INTJs are called the mastermind. And they very much so are. They're very rare.
Okay.
And they usually tend to be like the geniuses behind plans.
I see that.
They're behind the scene people.
Got it.
Great at long-term strategizing and like all that stuff. And
like a Jeff Bezos
type of person. I don't know enough about him, but and like ENTPs are just very much like,
right,
you know, it's like in my head is like very serious and philosophical, but like outwardly is like, I know, I'm like a 5-year-old child.
No, seriously. Like I'm like, like 4. It's so true. I always think about, you know, like do two serious people go together, or is it like or two playful people, or is it like sometimes I feel like you get the couple where it's like one serious, one's not, and it works. But I mean, there's so many other factors, but it's so funny because I always think about I think about it too, like because my match is supposed to be an extroverted person. Yeah. But I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I suit someone who's more introverted too. I don't know. It's like,
when it comes to introversion, extroversion, I feel like that's very fluid because you're never 100% extrovert. You're never 100% of anything. But especially when it comes to introvert, like, for example, I'm an ENTP, so I'm supposedly an extrovert.
Yeah.
And I really ask that question of myself every day because, like, from people around me, if you talk to them, they would not think I'm an extrovert sometimes.
I get it, man.
You know?
People think I'm an extrovert, and I'm like, no, I'm like a full-blown introvert. I just know I have bursts of energy, I guess, sometimes, and I know how to socialize, but, like, yeah, I have a lot of ish going on up here. Yeah, and I'm, like, always spaced out, like, when I'm out. People are always like, what are you doing?
That's
what
the
are you thinking?
N. That's the N.
Yeah.
So the INFJ, if your N is high, my N is actually extremely high. Oh. It's 72%, which means that you spend a lot of time in your head. You're not very in touch with your physical environment.
Is that the intuition part?
Yes.
Okay, mine was like ridiculously high for that. Mine was like in the 90s.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I'm really, that's why, you know, I always have this like spaceship thing, this theme going on, and like, you know, my persona on TikTok is Motherbot because I truly feel like I'm like spaced out sometimes and like not from here.
That is so original and authentic, by the way.
Thank you.
For listeners who don't know, first of all, close this podcast right now and go pull up her TikTok. She has like over almost 2 million followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
And it grew so fast and so rightfully so because it's like the most amazing. It's not just that your content is great and like educational and fun, but it's like so authentic in the way that like you do that like robot thing. Is like, how did you even think of that?
Dude, I'm a weird dude. Okay, it's like weird. The thing about creativity is I think I was listening to someone talk about this on like a TED Talk, but creativity just like comes, right? Like it's kind of like absurd to take responsibility for creativity, I think, because like it literally just comes. So like I have to be kind of just almost in a state of thinking but not thinking, and then it just comes. And so I'll have like random visions of like how I want to do my content, like, and I'm a very visual person as well, so, and I've always liked that kind of like creepy robotic type of aesthetic, and I personally relate to it because sometimes I feel like I'm out of it and kind of just like spacey, so I thought it'd be a good way to dispense information in a way that was eye-catching and memorable. And there's also like a backstory to it, which I feel like nobody knows about it because I haven't done like an origin story of Motherbot yet.
What is it?
But it's essentially, Motherbot's supposed to be, you know, this non-human being, obviously, who the whole point is that she's objective in her perspective, which I think a lot of us could do with. Like, I think a lot of us suffer from major bias, which is like, you know, like an overdose of subjectivity. And so Motherbot's supposed to be like the antidote to that. And, you know, she is like reporting on the things that she's observed about humans to like her other robot kind. But I think in her time of observing humans, she's fallen in love with like how imperfect humans are, and like, you know, trying to like help them. She's saying these hacks to like help people. So I know it's like a huge story, but
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that especially because it's interesting because like whatever you say on the internet, you're gonna get attacked, even if you're trying to help people.
Oh yeah.
But so like, do you think like having this persona of a robot, then maybe people are like, oh, she's just a robot.
Yeah.
I can't attack her.
I mean, that is like a nice comment. I mean, I experienced hardcore hate in the beginning of this year.
Jesus Christ.
For not being a psychologist and talking about psychology, even though, you know, it spawned off of, I mean, we don't have to get into this because it's like not even worth it, but it spawned off of one video that I did to do with high functioning anxiety, which has the word anxiety in it, but high functioning anxiety is a non-clinical term. And so I was just talking about, you know, signs that you could have it, because I think a lot of us deal with anxiety. It's just not clinically diagnosed. It's not like on a clinical level. Like you may not have medication, right? And so I got a lot of flack for that because, you know, I'm not a doctor or a therapist, but it's like the whole point of high functioning anxiety is because I think a large amount of people have learned to deal with it and have gone undiagnosed,
Right.
and don't realize that they may have anxiety because they're so. A lot of successful people have high functioning anxiety because they've learned to deal with it.
And it's like, did people forget that they're on an app for
I know.
fun on their phone, sitting on a toilet? Like, you're not
For
in
real.
a doctor's office.
I know.
Why are you taking this so seriously?
Girl.
As if like they had doubts that they might have an anxiety disorder and they were on their way to the doctor's office, but then they watched your video and they were like, okay, I'm gonna go word by word of what she's saying. This woman that I don't know her credentials, and so now, like, you endangered yourself and your mental health. No,
yeah. And the thing is, I've always thought of my content as a springboard. It's not meant to be, it's certainly not meant for self-diagnosis, and it's not even meant for like a full explanation. It's to spark interest. It's to spark, and it's meant to make things more accessible so that you feel more at ease reflecting on things that are maybe heavier and maybe you don't talk about, in your everyday conversation with your friends.
Yeah.
So it's like, that is kind of like the thought behind it too. Like, hopefully by viewing one of these like 15-second TikToks, you can then like go research yourself or like, seek help.
Exactly.
In some ways.
But I think we just have that tendency to just like want to self-diagnose, which is like why I think put a finger down videos do so well.
Yeah,
because it's like you thinking about yourself and like thinking like, am I like this? Am I not like this? Even in school, like I'm studying psychology, and like from the very first semester, everything that we would learn, I had this tendency to not just try to diagnose myself, but everyone in my family.
Oh, yeah.
I would literally go to my professors and be like, so my cousin's like this. Do you think he's this? Yeah. And the only thing that my professors have ever told me was not like, oh, he might be, or no, it's always like, don't try to diagnose. You are not in the place to diagnose yet.
I agree.
And it's like, we just tend to do that. We just tend to want to like associate ourselves or people that we know that we love with the new information that's coming our way.
Right.
So people who watch your videos also like just naturally tend to do that. So it's just like, we need to understand like not to.
I completely agree. Yeah, I think it's a mixture of confirmation bias and also just like this eternal, desire to understand yourself. And so like naturally you just want to be, oh, does this apply to me? You know, and I guess that can be misleading. Yeah. If you're thinking about it in that way. But I didn't even know that there was this like put your finger down challenge thing.
Yeah, you've never seen put a finger down videos
I only
on TikTok?
saw it like way later. And so I started to realize like, oh, okay, like I guess this is like a trend on TikTok. Yeah, I the reason why I put, numbers into my, because I come from a reporting background actually. So I tend to just naturally summarize information. And I feel like when you do things, especially in threes, if you ever want to dispense information and have it be memorable, tell it in the threes, because that's how much a person can really like retain. So yeah, I feel like it's easier to like absorb information when it's numbered out like that.
Yeah, I make similar videos for TikTok.
Okay.
But when I watch your videos, I always think like, it's the way you deliver is so perfect.
Oh, thanks.
Because it's like, oh, I'm not just complimenting you. Like, I'm not just trying to be nice, but I like genuinely like think this, because it's like you wrap it up really quick. It's like you say something that's like the headline important, like topic to know. You bring a quick example, and like the visuals are perfect, and it's like it's very like the delivery is really good. I really enjoy it.
Thank you, Pani.
But yeah, so I kind of want to like go back to when I invited you to come on my podcast a few months ago, and
what?
You sneaky little. So
I can be sneaky.
I know, you literally teach sneaky hacks. Duh.
Sneaky's a lifestyle.
So I invite her to come on the podcast, and she pretends like she's thinking about it. She's like, let me see, like, is it like, she asks a few questions. She's like, well, like, do you guys like wear masks? Like, is it like social distance? And I tell her, like, I reassure her that, like, yeah, all these things, like, everyone like keeps getting tested all the time. And she's like, okay, let me think about it. I'm like, okay. And then while she's thinking about it, like, maybe that night I watched one of your lives on TikTok.
What did I say?
While I was watching that live, I was like, she is not thinking about coming on the podcast. She's just being nice. Her answer was a definite no from the moment I asked, because on your live you were saying that you're so paranoid about COVID that you don't even turn on your AC because you're worried that virus molecules are gonna be like brought into your home. So I was like, she's 100% not thinking about it. If she's like that worried, she's not thinking about it. And rest assured, the next day you hit me up and you were like, so I thought about it. I was like,
You like pretended to not know. That's funny.
You were like, I don't want to do it. And I was like, it's completely okay. Don't worry about it. We can like do it later whenever you're comfortable.
I love that you were so understanding, because
100%.
It was kind of like an awkward time when like, there was like, people were split into like totally cool about COVID,
the super nonchalant
people who were like, going to bed with gloves on, and I was in the latter category. No, but it was actually twofold. I actually I think I developed like a mild social anxiety when I was locked in, because I really did not see anybody, because I mean, started with my my whole germaphobe thing, but
so you had that problem prior. Like, were you an actual germaphobe, or just like...
well, I'm not going to say clinically a germaphobe, but I do tend to be very conscious of germs, and so COVID was kind of like an intense experience for me, and so I really was isolated. And then because of that, I don't know if you experienced this, but I found myself having a little bit of social anxiety. I forgot how to be social, so that kind of added to it too. I'm fine now, I'm back to normal now, but I think that's also what it was. Both things. So I wasn't trying to be sneaky.
Oh, no.
I'm really glad to be here, finally.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Finally. Mm-hmm. But at the time when you told me, that obviously makes sense, It's if there's any time to be extremely understanding of people and why they wouldn't want to see you is when a global pandemic is happening.
Yeah.
For sure. But I had to get tested for my work a lot, because we would travel for shoots.
Oh.
So we would always have to get tested a maximum of 2 days before traveling.
Okay.
And then also before coming back.
Oh.
So just constantly getting tested.
That's good.
But aside from that, I remember the first time I went to a party after the whole COVID thing, and I was like, I have no idea what to do. I don't know how to be like. I was like, what do I do with my hands?
I was
where do I can I wear sunglasses?
Yeah. Oh my God, sunglasses would be great. Just a blouse and be hiding. It's it's such a weird thing. I feel I was hyper aware of myself when I first started to go out again.
Self-conscious.
I wouldn't say it's social anxiety, but just very hyper aware, and I would find myself just kind of for the first time ever worrying about what to talk about in a conversation. Oh my God, what if this conversation dries up? What am I going to say? Which is so weird. That never happened to me before. Yeah, it's weird. When you isolate yourself. By the way, isolation, I don't know if you know this, it's considered a form of self-harm. Isolation.
I mean, think about the worst way to punish someone. Even when someone commits a crime, the worst type of criminal goes into solitary. Not just the normal type of jail where everybody gets to hang out. The worst type of punishment for a human is to just be by yourself.
Yeah, that's a different kind of cruelty, because I think it does it's psychological damage and sometimes irreversible.
Yeah.
So that's something that I think I've been meaning to talk about. That too is one of my topics. I feel there's so many topics to talk about that are not clinical things, but a lot of people, they'll isolate themselves, especially introverts. I feel a lot of introverts watch my content. And they're not aware of how much that hurts them. You good?
Sometimes I just like wrestle with this thing because it's pretty strong too. Like I need both arms. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like this is how much we need human connection and like communication. Is like even people who like go in solitary confinement, is like a lot of them start hearing voices and they talk back to the voices because it's like your brain needs to produce some kind of companion for you.
Oh, that's
even
so
if it's
fascinating.
Right, even if it's like a fake that you have to make up so that somebody talks to you and you like talk to them. I mean, we definitely need people.
Yeah. And I think I realized that for the first time, like through experience I mean, a lot of us did in the middle of the pandemic, because I've always liked being alone. So, you know, in the beginning of the pandemic, I was like, this is sweet.
Yeah,
like I finally have my own, you know, my own space. I can be as weird and creative as I want to, but then, you know, it like definitely
slowly you're like, okay, where are the people at?
Yeah. It hit a point of diminishing returns is how I like to put it.
Yeah, I remember all the introverts in the beginning of quarantine were like, just start like, so I just have to keep doing what I've been doing is what you're telling me.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Introvert's Paradise.
Yeah, I'm supposedly an extrovert, but I don't know. Like my extroversion. You
might be an ambivert. You strike me as maybe.
Yeah, but when you take the Myers-Briggs test, it doesn't like your first letter can't be an A. It's either E or I, but what it does, it gives you percentages.
Yes.
So for example, my extroversion percentage is 3%.
Oh,
so it's really
interesting.
low.
So you're on the cusp.
So
then.
I am, yeah.
Yeah. And I think I'm that too.
Yeah, and it's like I go on phases, you know, like I sometimes I like feel like, okay, I want to go out, like honestly, fuck it. I want to go out like every night for a week.
Yeah.
Like every other night.
Like
I don't know
too.
if I can do every night.
The bursts,
every other night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to be with people and I want to keep talking and I want to like talk to people and like see what they've been up to and like do all that, and then I will literally just close down.
Yeah. Me too.
And those are the times where like I've made so many new friends in like the past month, and they always hit me up like, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? And I'm legitimately worried that they're going to get tired of hearing no one after another. And like they're just going to like give up.
Right.
So like I'm literally
Some
like.
of them do, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm literally like, how do I leave my house without actually having to leave my house?
Right.
Like I have so much fun at home. It's like, there's so much to do at home.
Yeah. So what do you do? Like in like an introvert's paradise situation?
Masturbate.
Okay. Hey, that happens. Yes.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, like, there's so much you can do at home that like is fun. Like I actually like reading. Like I always liked reading. I think it's so much fun.
It is.
Ordering in food. I don't cook. It's just like you're just like sitting.
I don't really cook either. I try, but
I don't even try.
I'll do it just to be healthy, but I'm not a huge kitchen person.
No. Every time I'm in the kitchen, it's kind of scary. I keep imagining all the ways I could die.
Oh my gosh, that's that took a turn. Because of the knives?
Just everything in the kitchen is dangerous. Everything.
You know, you're right. Like the heat.
Dude, boiling water scares the shit out of me.
Yeah,
boiling water is so scary.
Yeah,
there's so many things that could go wrong with boiling water.
The stove thing, the oven is the scariest thing.
There's microwave. There's toaster.
Oh, yeah.
There are knives.
Oh yeah, when things are microwaving, you can't stand too close because you're gonna get like a brain something or other. But the oven I think is like the scariest thing, and I always see people like just casually baking and just like I'm just like like the heat and like what if I burn myself? Like
girls who bake for fun are just so fucking cute.
Super cute.
Like that's so like feminine and cute. And it's like
I know. It's so
I always
funny.
think I don't cook, I don't bake. Like I'm a bad woman.
I honestly think that too. I get like guilt every now and then. I'm just like, okay, I gotta like learn how to do some basic dishes so I can like impress a guy or impress my kids one day.
Yeah,
but it's not going so well.
I told my ex I think the first night we met that I can't cook. That's how I was drunk, and like in my drunken mind I thought that's like I have to like put a disclaimer out for him to know that like I don't cook. And it's like it's not just that I don't cook, it's like I'm not planning
I love it
on cooking. Like I have no plans of learning how to cook.
I like how you just own it. That's so badass, man. Yeah. You're making me feel better right now. Like, it's great.
Yeah, because literally, like, from when I was, like, little, I would always feel like I'm in the wrong part of the house when I'm in the kitchen. And I still feel that way. Like, I just don't feel like that's my place to be. unlike what men in the older age used to say.
Yeah, ugh. Gross. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I like to play, like, you know... I don't know. It's fun. Yeah, it's fun to play it, you know, ironically sometimes. Just because I also, you know, speaking of personality types and stuff, I think I'm a chameleon. I've always been able to just kind of like shift into like whatever weird thing of the moment, that's according to like your environment. And so, yeah, I like to like just try out new things like personas and stuff. But yeah, definitely not like a housewifey type.
That's social intelligence, though, when you can just, like, go with whatever is... When you're flexible, when you're not rigid and, like, just a certain way that, like, no one and nothing can change you.
Yes.
You know? When something is super hard and rigid, like, something can break it. But when you're flexible, nothing can break you because you're... You know.
There's this quote, not to be overly cheesy, but that the bamboo is stronger than, like, I guess it was like a trunk of a tree or whatever, because it can bend. And that's so true. That's a great symbol, I think, for emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
When people ask me, like, oh, like, what's EQ? Like, my version is kind of like, you know, not a version, but like, I guess, like, to put context to it, like realistic context. It's like being able to be aware of like yourself, others, and how you can make everyone feel comfortable in that environment, because it's all about like, it's relational, right? It's like, how do you not just be self-aware, but like apply that to like the actual environment so that everything goes well for everybody, not just for you. But then you get manipulative people where they want to do it just for themselves. And it's funny, you know, like the great thing about psychology that I think is like very interesting is that like it's there whether you like it or not. It's not an ethics thing. The two things are different, but I think people tend to get confused because I would get, you know, some hate comments sometimes like, oh, that's manipulation. And I'm like, yeah, it is manipulation. Like, good for you. Good for you for pointing that out, because we lie all the time. We manipulate all the time. It's a matter of the intent and like, you know, the character and the morals of the person. And so I find that really interesting to kind of, I guess, examine the intersection of psychology and ethics, because the two are different. So yeah, I like that, because then we, you know, because I always say like, and I like the whole yin yang philosophy, and I think you know, the two books that I think exemplify those two ends of the spectrum is 48 Powers of Law, which is like manipulative.
Robert Greene.
Yeah. Oh,
love
so
that
good.
guy.
What a brilliant man.
I know.
And then the other one is How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is all about, you know, soft
Dale
skills.
Carnegie, right?
Dale Carnegie, yeah. So I think those two are great examples of how understanding psychology and like social behavior, human behavior is like, such like a wide, cool spectrum. Yeah.
Quick flex, Robert Greene follows me on Instagram.
No. Oh my God.
I had never been happier of someone following me back.
Oh my God.
I was so excited when he followed me back.
That is an honor.
Like, I know. We like messaged each other. I was sweating profusely.
Oh my God, I'm sweating right now. That is so cool, man. He's so cool.
I remember Chris Brown followed me.
You should get him on here.
I will. I remember one time Chris Brown followed me for like 24 hours for whatever reason, and I had no feelings about it. Like, I was like, oh yeah. And then like Robert Greene followed me, and I was like, I was hitting up my friends. I was like, what should I do? What should I say? Like, oh my God, this person, like, oh my, like
I would be sweating too. I'm the same way. Like, I don't really fangirl over like your typical celebrities, because like we're in LA. I'm sure you've met a bunch of them.
You see them at Whole Foods.
Yeah, like I've met a bunch of them. But like, yeah, I tend to like geek out on like certain people that I like really admire.
Yeah, he's a really good author, especially like modern age. Is like, so many people write books and they're great. A lot of books can be summarized in an article.
True.
His books are
cannot be summarized.
Is like the amount of work he puts just in like the historic examples he always brings.
Yes.
Like what kind of research and what amount of work does he put in for one book?
I mean,
you know,
you can just tell, like, it just flows through his blood. Like, this is how he thinks. Like, he probably has, like, an amazing thought every single hour.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I will have him here one day.
You better.
So,
and I'll come and I'll just be like over here, just sitting over here like.
Yeah, I have like a bunch of guests. Just fangirling from a corner.
Totally. And when I fangirl, it's like intense. Because like it's like the stark contrast of like not fangirling around people you're supposed to fangirl, and then when I actually fangirl, it's like, but I mean, I'll be cool. Like, I'm not gonna be like,
dude, it's
like an embarrassment or anything.
It's such a weird thing. The last time I super fangirled on someone, do you know who Naval Ravikant is?
Oh, sounds so familiar.
You should look him up. He's like this like huge like techie guy, like older Indian guy, but he's very wise and insightful.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And
is he a YouTuber? No. That's totally something.
No,
he
made it really big on Twitter because he had these easy steps to become successful, and I know everybody has those steps, but he's not really good. He's different.
Okay.
I saw him at a party about a month ago. And I was like, okay. And as soon as I walked into the party, my friend was like, yo, he's here. Like, be cool. And I was like, holy shit, okay, I'll be cool. And I was like, okay, what's my strategy? I kept, like, circling around him so that he would start talking to me. Didn't happen. He had a bunch of people.
Oh my God. I just got a major, like, this like, really clear image of just, like, sauntering by, like
hey.
I've definitely done that at parties, too. That's hilarious.
And he, like, had a bunch of people around him. Didn't even notice me. I was like, okay, that didn't work. He gave a speech, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go sit in the first row and make eye contact with him and nod the whole time so he'll, like, notice me. He sees that it's a party. A lot of people are being loud and disrespectful. I'll stand out if I, like, which is exactly what I used to do as a student, just always, like, sit in the front.
Oh, my God, I love
that. Hi, teacher. Me.
I know.
I was trying to be Hermione Granger.
I love it. Hey, that's cool.
And it did.
I respect
that. Did work because when he was giving the speech.
Yeah.
And I was like obviously listening and like nodding, and he like made eye contact. He made eye contact with me a bunch of times. So then after his speech was done, he went to the bar, and I just like super nonchalant went to the bar, and I just was like, like, you know what? This party is about to be end. I don't have time to like fucking like lose this opportunity. I'm just gonna go fucking. Yeah,
you gotta go up there.
I'm just gonna go introduce myself. Like, what's the worst that can happen?
He probably would be like just taken back by your beauty, just like, you know. So yeah, like you should.
I had a shoot earlier that day, so I like had extensions and like a full face of makeup.
Oh yeah, why didn't you do that earlier then? Like, forget all the sauntering by. Yeah.
So I like go up to him and I'm like, "Hi, my name is," and then like I don't know why I did this, but I pretended like I didn't know him.
Oh my God. Okay. You know what? That's actually not a bad tactic.
I was like, what's your name? What do you do? I like know everything about it.
Yeah, I know. Hey, no, that's sneaky. And honestly speaking, if I was in your exact same position, I might have done the same thing. Maybe. It's just like two different plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Probably reduced the awkwardness, right?
So yeah, it did. And then I did another thing, which is like in the middle of our conversation, like we started talking, like we hit it off, and like it was going great. After a couple like drinks, I was like, hey, so I have a confession to make. I know exactly who you are.
Oh, you went for the kill. That's kind of hot. Was he into it?
It was so risky because he could have just been flirting? Like, was it weirdo?
Yeah, but I mean, no. by then it was probably like, fine.
It wasn't really flirtatious.
It wasn't flirtatious.
Okay. It was just like us like talking about like books and stuff.
That's better.
And then, but like he like laughed and he like was like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that.
That's so funny. And that's such a great story.
Yeah. And then like we all got together and like we went and had dinner and it was totally cool. And and we're friends now. We text sometimes.
Look at you with all your cool friends.
I know, dude. I'm so cool. Like
you're so damn cool. No, seriously though, it's not even sarcastic. That's so cool. Robert effing Green, like what the fuck?
No, he doesn't know me yet. Oh. He just follows me on Instagram.
Okay, but he's about to know you.
I hope so.
Oh, I think he will. Yeah.
That was an embarrassing story.
So, I loved it. We loved it.
Have you ever had anything similar like that? Like, have you ever had like tactics? I mean, I know you have a bunch of tactics.
Yeah, God. Yeah, I've got so many that I can't even remember them all. I think I'm at like I'm almost at 180 now, sneaky hacks. I'm doing them one by one now on TikTok and like I'm 180 kind of spacing videos? Them out.
Sneaky hack videos.
They're just sneaky hacks. So I've numbered them. Yeah, and I've come up with almost 180 now. I'm gonna get to 200 soon, but no, I don't really have. I guess I don't have a hack yet for like how to approach someone that you're nervous to approach, or like you. Yeah, that's a good one though.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do? Like, what's the
like? How do you keep your cool? Or
right?
Yeah.
How do you keep your cool? Like, have you ever had to keep your cool? It doesn't have to be like a celebrity or anything, you know. It could just be like a really cute guy or I don't know, whatever. Like somebody who just like in some way intimidates you, or you're just fascinated by them, or you want them to like you. Like have you ever had a moment when you're like, I really want this person to like me?
Yeah. I love this. This is such an honest, earnest situation. I can't really remember the last time, but I'm putting myself in that hypothetical situation. I don't think I'd be like a really cool, like the typical like cool-headed, like, you know, sneaky type person. I think like everyone, I think first of all, it's natural to be nervous. Yeah. And I think when you try to not be, people are more perceptive than you give them credit for. Yeah. Like I can pick up when someone's nervous, and I actually, you know what? I think it's very endearing when someone's nervous. Yeah. You know, I always say, like, you know, sometimes I'll do lives on TikTok and people will ask me, like, oh, you know, I've got a crush, you know, like younger kids, like, you know, what do I do? Like, I'm so nervous, like, how do I deal with it? And I tell them, you know, like, you got to embrace your nerves sometimes because it makes you human. And, like, I would much rather personally deal with someone who is, like, you know, a little visibly nervous, but, like, a genuine, you feel like a genuine, you know, authentic energy as opposed to, like, some Casanova or someone who's like trying to be all slick and it's like, you know, facepalm moment, cringy, because I think now more than ever people really connect with just like owning how you feel in the moment. So like I actually embrace my awkwardness sometimes because I can be awkward. Okay. And so I think my awkwardness definitely comes out when like I feel out of control maybe, or like like I want to impress someone. But then like turning that awkwardness into like an endearing awkwardness. Like sometimes I'll even say like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so nervous right now. You know, stuff like that. But it's a matter of preference too. Like if that's not what you would naturally say, then don't say it.
I mean, naturally, like I'm not really someone who like would get nervous a lot around people. But like in that situation, it happened. And then I'm kind of glad that I like confessed to it because that's exactly what happened. Because like everybody can relate to someone who just like, you know, is nervous or like, you know,
1,000%
is like awkward in a moment or whatever. And that's exactly what happened. He was like, he related to it and it was endearing to him.
1,000%.
You know,
that's a sneaky hack actually. Like every now and then you reveal vulnerability. You choose not all of them though. You got to be like choosy about it. And then literally people like you like multiple times more because of that one vulnerability. So you played it well.
It wasn't on purpose. Like I don't even know why. Intuition. I don't even know why I like pretended like I didn't know him. It just like in the moment it wasn't the right thing to do or say, or I don't know.
I bet he felt so good about himself when you revealed that you actually knew who he was. He was probably like, like
because I
mind
wasn't
blown.
expecting us to like have such a long conversation. I thought we are gonna talk for like a little bit, and then he's gonna get like, you know, soaked away by like 1,000 people that want to talk to him.
Yeah.
But then as the conversation went on, I like in the back of my head I was like, oh my god, like I'm still like doing that. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna like tell him.
I love that. That's great. You know, and then it kind of like, it's good too, I think, like to keep like when you kind of switch the energy.
Yeah.
That's like a nice little like surprise. I think like people like the element of surprise. So like I bet you were even more memorable because of that, you know?
I would hope so.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Ah, man.
Good one.
Okay, so you mentioned it right now, but you actually, so you're a professional journalist.
Yeah.
With 6 years or 10 years of experience on national TV as a news broadcaster.
6 years. Yeah. But I started off as a weatherwoman, so that's where I got
so
my.
Cool.
I know, it's so random. My presentation skills, because this is why I love How to Win Friends and Influence People. That book, like I have a special place in my heart for that book because I read that book in one day, literally before my audition, my very first audition in life, which was to be a weatherwoman, and like. You know, I'm so thankful for my ability to talk like this. Like, this is not always me. When I was growing up, when I was in college, I was like shy. I had stage fright. I did not like public speaking at all. I would get like jitters before, you know, class presentations. And so I'm literally like, I'm a living example of like, if you just practice the shit out of something, you can excel at it. Because like, I never imagined growing up that I'd be able to, you know, like never mind TV, live TV, but just being able to like speak confidently and like, you know, self-assuredly. And that book, I think, is what really, I don't know, it did it for me. Like a mindset is so powerful. So I binged that book, and I truly think that if I had not read that book, I would have bombed my audition. I would have been like a bag of nerves, and I would have never been able to be a TV host. I probably would never be the type of person to do social media. Yeah, so it's
what was like the main thing you got from that book? That helped you so much.
The main thing about that book was it made me realize what connects people. That book has an amazing ability to really break down like, and the thing I love about that book too, it's very like, it's positive. You know, it's got this very like optimistic outlook on human relations, and how like at the end of the day we just want to be seen and we want to be understood, and I think there's and it's not like written out explicitly, but the kind of the takeaways I got from that book overall, the implicit meanings, was that, you know, you're the only you on this earth, and so you need to own that, and realize that everyone else is unique in their own way too. And so it's like, that's how you connect. It's not by trying to be something that you're not, or like fit into some kind of mold, or it's about being kind and being unique and being proudly, both those things. And that's like emotional intelligence.
Very much.
So I like tell everyone to read that book.
It's a really good one.
It's a good one. It's like an easy, good foundational book that puts you in the right mindset.
I actually did a book review on that book, and I think my favorite line of it, and I maybe actually to quote this because I like read it so many times, and then I like repeated it so many times for the book review, and it said, an unvarnished truth is that everybody you meet, almost everyone you meet, will think of themselves better than you in some sort of way.
Okay.
And the best way to their heart is by acknowledging that.
I always say that too. I forgot that was from that book though.
Yeah. I mean, you literally just, what you said was that.
It's about acknowledging people. People want to be seen. Yeah. That's actually one of my sneaky hacks. Like, and I always keep this one on top of mind though, because whenever I meet someone, and I tell people too, like when you meet someone, you can get a sense of how they want to be seen. Everyone has, you know, this vision or this idea, and that is actually like the seed of their motivation in life. It's like, it's their self-actualization in their mind. And so if you start treating them in a way as if they're already self-actualized, they will be they'll gravitate towards you subconsciously. Like they won't even really maybe fully realize why, but it's because you're treating them in the way that they ultimately want to be treated. And yeah, that's like super powerful. And I think it's good, you know, that could be seen as manipulative, but I think it's like a good kind, you know, like
that's not manipulation.
I think it's encouraging. Like it kind of goes in hand with what I was talking about, how I love to like see people's potential and like kind of like push them towards it.
I think manipulation, I don't know what the exact definition of the word is, but what I think would be an accurate definition of that word would be to get someone to do something that they otherwise wouldn't, because it's probably not good for them.
That's perfect.
Getting them to do something that's probably not good for them for your own sake.
So true.
So how is what you're saying manipulation in any way?
Yeah, I think manipulation is like like a loosely defined term, but you just did it perfectly, I think. Yeah. And I hate people who manipulate like that. Yeah. That's another reason why I think I do the content that I do, because I was always that type, like bullying pisses me the F off. I can't stand the whole like bullying in general. Like I've always wanted to be that person to like fight for the people who didn't want to, or like, you know, like I don't like seeing people being taken advantage of. Yeah. That pisses me off.
Yeah. I agree with you, but I also think that there is a beautiful balance to everything. And I think that as long as there are people who will be taken advantage of, there will be people who will take advantage of those people.
I know.
And time after time, there will be people who will take advantage, and there will be people who will be taken advantage of.
Yeah, what you're saying is true, because it's almost like a world order. You know, it's kind of like how the cookie crumbles. It's like, or else we'd be in utopia. But it's like, I guess that's why I think I like to reveal manipulation tactics, so that I can at least be like, hey guys, like just in case you didn't know that this was manipulative, like now you know. Not so that you can go be manipulative, but that you can now be aware of it in case someone's trying to pull a fast one on you. And I don't know, like maybe not everyone will use that, because there will always be people, like you said, that will be subject to that. But
look, the game exists whether you play or not.
Yes.
Okay? It is. And there are people who know the game, they know how to play it.
Yes.
And whether you know it or not, you're playing with these people, because they're around you, true. They're in your life. So why not understand the game? Why not have a few tricks of your own?
Absolutely.
It's like
that's exactly what I think. I think that like it's a form of power, right? Like literally, you know, these kinds of psychological things. And it's like, I'd like to like empower people that otherwise aren't greedy to. Yeah. Like there are certain people who are like greedy to. Yeah. And it's like they have enough. Like let's try and like make this more open to people.
It's like you can choose how you use it. Yeah. You know, just because you have power doesn't mean you have to like misuse it. Yes. It's like you can 1,000%. Still be kind. But okay, so tell me a few of your, because like I don't some of the listeners, they may not know like these series that you do of like the sneaky psychology hacks. So she has these series, you guys, where she does a bunch of psychology sneaky hacks. Okay. And then like I'm gonna like name a few of your most viewed, most popular.
Yes, please do.
So she discusses these topics, and these are the most popular, most viewed ones. Yeah. Sneaky psychology hacks, which I think that's your number one. Yeah. People you should distance yourself from. I definitely want to talk about that because I love that. Things toxic people say, signs of a narcissistic personality, how to seek revenge. I loved that one. First of all, you looked so hot in that video. It was not okay.
I do like really weird like vibey videos sometimes where like I'm like dubbing my own voice, and I'm drinking a beer or a wine, and I'm just looking like super severe, and there's like no explanation for why. And you
don't need explanation. It's fucking amazing to
like
look at.
Other reality. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, how to seek revenge, things that make you less likable. So I actually just started. I like your wording better.
Okay.
I started this. I didn't know it was going to be a series. I thought it's just going to be one video, but then everybody said part two, part two. So I was like, maybe I'll make it a series.
Yeah, that's when you make it a series.
Right. But I called it things that you do without knowing that makes people hate you.
Love it.
And I got a lot of bad comments just because I used the word hate. So I thought it's really smart that you said things that make you less likable.
Less likable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've learned how to word things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Packaging is everything.
Yes.
Signs that you are emotionally unavailable. Subtle signs someone is attracted to you. Green flags when dating someone. Because it's like you see red flags all the time.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see green flags for once.
Yes.
Best ways to deal with stress. Signs you have high functioning anxiety that you talked about.
Yeah.
And 5 types of people with imposter syndrome. So let's go to sneaky psychology hacks. What are like some of the best ones, or what are some of your favorites?
Okay, so some of my favorites. Well, okay, my first ever sneaky hack, I believe, was when you meet someone for the first time to make note of their eye color, because holding the gaze for that extra couple seconds will create some kind of rapport, like subconsciously. That's like a body language thing. Yeah. So like I liked that because it's like immediately applicable, right? Like you can remember that one. And then there are other like more, like sneaky ones, like one that, okay, so this is just like a fun one, I guess. Like if you're playing a game and your opponent is doing well, like you ask them or compliment them on the fact that they're doing well, and ask them like, oh my god, like how are you doing this so well, like, or ask what their tactic is, maybe not like in a direct way, but more like in a hypothetical, like rhetorical type question way, and it'll often mess them up.
See, I'm such a shit talker. As soon as we start playing, there is no way I could give the satisfaction of like asking the opponent,
that's the beauty of it.
How are you doing so well? I'm all the way like, fuck you.
I know.
I will fucking kill you.
I know, and that's why I like this one, because most people go there. They're gonna be shit talking, be like, oh whatever. But when you do this, it's reverse. It's the classic reverse. Like it's a perfect example of this classic reverse psychology thing, because then they feel the pressure to upkeep that they're doing well, and then they'll overthink it.
Oh man, that would go against everything inside of me.
Another thing is when you when you can feel like someone doesn't like you, like ask them for a small favor.
Like, can you pass me that? Can you give me that?
Or like I think a really good practical one is like asking their opinion for something. Or like it could be like a small, like, oh, do you have like a pencil, or something. It can be something small and practical, like tangible, or it can be like asking for their opinion, because that will make them feel important and make them feel
included.
Like they like you. Yeah. So that's like a little thing too, to just build rapport.
Yeah. I took this poll a few weeks ago on my story, which is something like I do a lot on my stories. I just like randomly will think of something, and then I will just like ask a question, just like put a poll out. I asked, when you feel like somebody doesn't like you, do you just go, bye bitch, or you will try one last time? And in my mind, I was thinking of something like that, because I always do that when I feel like someone doesn't like me. I don't just immediately go like, well, fuck you, bye, don't ever speak to me ever again. I always feel like, okay, maybe they have the wrong idea. Maybe like a lot of people tell me I come off intimidating a lot of times. So I'm like,
same here.
So I'm like, let me just like let them know that like, hey, like exactly like what you said, not to just be like, oh, why don't you like me? Like, let's be friends. Not like obviously, but it's like just maybe just throw in a couple more words and sentences in there.
Yes.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, and I think most people, especially if they're intimidated by you, it's more so, it's not because they don't like you. It's like they're almost like they're afraid you may not like them almost. And so I feel like a lot of the times I try and like reassure people, like, look, like I don't know, I'm here to connect, and like I'm just yeah, I'm like a person, even though I have like a resting bitch face, which I feel like a lot of the times is the problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I kind of take it as, but then you have to be careful about people pleasing, because I don't know about you, but I definitely am a former people pleaser, because I don't know, maybe it had to do with the household that I grew up in, which is a whole other tangent, but it was also because I was interested in trying to understand how people like worked and ticked, like, you know, how can I get this person to want to connect with me?
Which is pretty natural. I
yeah,
feel like
most people, right?
Some level of people pleasing is in everyone. Like, you're gonna want people to like you.
Yes.
You know?
True.
If you're just the kind of person that you actually mean it when you say, I don't give a fuck, I don't care who likes me, I don't care if nobody likes me.
It's kind of a downer.
Because sometimes, like, I've had people say that, and it's like, I don't believe them. I don't want to believe them, because that's not a good way to be.
Yeah, it's
like,
true.
Why would you not care about...
Yeah.
I'm not saying, like, you should make everything about, like, caring about what people think of you. Obviously, a lot of people's opinions don't matter. But it's a good thing to be likable.
Absolutely. Most people want to be likable, and it certainly serves you, you know, in the workplace.
And everything.
Yeah, like leadership, you know, at the end of the day, people want to be around people that they like. You know, we are driven by emotions, not logic. So even though someone might be better for the job, like... sometimes you just want to follow the person that you like being around. Yeah. It's like simple as that. Like, we're so simple and complex at the same time.
Yeah. So what were you saying that we got into that? I totally forgot. Oh, you were saying that you used to be a people pleaser.
Yeah. I mean, it still kicks in every now and then, but it's more. It comes more from this will of wanting to understand how, like, what makes someone tick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing I do, if I feel like, I do this only with girls.
Okay.
And this happens a lot, you know, like, we travel for work with a bunch of models, or I don't know, I go to a party or something, and, you know, like, us girls, I always feel like there is that one girl, you know,
who's like a sour,
who is just like,
doesn't want to.
And honestly, as much as I like, sometimes, like, I don't care, you know, but, like, sometimes I'm just like, I do genuinely want everyone to be, like, comfortable.
Yeah.
Self-deprecation can go such a long way. Like,
Great
because
point.
For whatever the reason, sometimes people, like, put you in this pedestal in their mind for whatever the reason.
Yeah.
And if you just let them know that you can be silly, or you have insecurities as well, or, like, oh, like, this thing that I'm, like, you know, not confident about, they're like, oh, she's just like me.
Yeah. Exactly.
And just like that, it goes
so
away.
Powerful. Yeah. So powerful. That's so true. Self-deprecation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as you don't overdo it.
Don't
like anything
overdo
else.
it.
Yeah, like anything
don't
else.
Overdo
like, you know,
it.
it's just, you know,
just a little
staccatos.
It's just a little, you're lucky I'm telling you this.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I like that. VIP. Access.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, you don't want to shout it out in front of everyone, but it's just like
makes you feel special.
Exactly.
Too.
It's like you guys are in the bathroom and just kind of like whisper, like, oh, like, this thing I'm insecure. Like just very nonchalant. Like, she, you know, like, people feel like, oh, I
love that.
You know?
Yeah. I think I do the same thing too, to make someone feel comfortable. Yeah, that's a great one. That's a good sneaky hack right there.
What are okay, do you have, like, any other ones you want, or can we...
I mean, yeah, there's a bunch. I guess I'll just fly through like maybe two more or three. Another one that I found interesting is if you're ever at like a business lunch and you are trying to negotiate something, or you're with someone, like, you order the same lunch that they order.
I can't do that. What if they suck at, or I care too much about
food. Oh my God.
I care too much about food.
If you care about food, which you rightfully should, then don't. But that's supposed to be a subconscious agreeing, like, it's like you're agreeing with something already. So it kind of sets the tone for an agreement to happen if you're, like, experiencing the same thing together. Yeah, it can be the same drink. It can be the same. Maybe not. If you don't want to do like the same dish, that might be a little bit much. It might be like, oh, okay, like, do you have a brain of your own? But
I was actually thinking that, especially like as a girl.
It could, but it depends on, you know, you kind of want to dial it. Like, it depends on the person too, right? But I think a good compromise is like the same drink or the same dessert. Or something.
I don't think I could do the same food. So, like, some weirdos out there are ordering steak tartare. It's like, why are you eating raw meat? Why are you
Okay, so no steak tartare for Pani. Noted. Yeah, but that's a good one. Another quick one too is when you want to get someone's honest opinion on something. Let's say you have like a cool work idea or something for a project, and most of the time the people that you ask, sometimes they may not be totally honest. Maybe like you present it as someone else's idea. You say like, oh, like my friend had this
asking
idea.
for a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
The good old asking
much.
for a friend.
Pretty much, but like not in like a joking manner. But yeah, and I think that works really well too, if you kind of remove yourself.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
You should make series on like how to be more confident, because I know that's something that a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah, I get that question all the time when I do lives, and there's many like tactics, and I think one of the most obvious ones that I'm sure everyone has heard of is just to start acting confident, and that's supposed to that will train you to just your feelings will follow. Sometimes you have to act first, and then your feelings will follow. But I think on a more like philosophical level, I think people think that confidence looks a certain way, and that's just not the case. Like, I think really understanding that confidence looks different at different times, even of the day, different times of your life, and in different circumstances, different environments, and according to different types of people. So, like, what confidence looks like on a shy person is not going to look the same as someone who's, like, crazy and extroverted. And that's okay. That's the whole point. So, like, once you realize that, it's liberating, and it encourages you to be confident, like, no matter what. Like, you can be confident when you're sad. You can be, like you can own the fact that you're sad and like not try and like force yourself out of that emotional state. Like you should obviously, but ironically, that's how you get out of that state, when you like accept that you are in that state, and then you can then move forward like better,
I love that.
more efficiently.
Yeah.
So yeah, confidence I think is like, it's at the end of the day, it's being authentic and being cognizant of the fact that you're in an emotional state, accepting it, and the fact that that emotional state does not define you. Because I think people who ask how to be confident inherently tend to be nervous or tend to like shame themselves for feeling a certain way, and it's like it's just like it just reinforces that same negative thought pattern. And I think this can start to break it. I think it's like realizing that confidence looks different on everybody. So you don't have to like. Because when you see a confident person, sometimes it can be almost intimidating. Like, you wish you could be like that, but it's like they're like that because that's who they are. Like
you never know. Maybe they look. Some people are just better at masking their insecurities. That's what it comes down to. So step one, be a Leo if you want to be.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh my gosh, Leos.
So I'm a Leo.
Are you really?
And
oh my gosh.
Yeah,
my dad's a Leo.
Yeah, and something about Leos, which like I guess like they just come off as confident, and like I've had girls ask me like how do you do that, and I'm like, look, I'm just better at masking my shit.
Oh, I love that answer.
Yeah,
it's so honest. I love it. Yeah, because I'm not confident all the time at all. I struggle with self-doubt.
Everyone
daily. Yeah, like a lot more than I think people would ever know. Yeah.
There's this trend on TikTok. It's so funny. I want to make this video. It's so true.
Okay.
It's like this video that like it shows like when you're 14, like you're getting ready and like you're listening to your music in your room and you're like da 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 da.
Yeah.
And then like when you're past 25 and you're getting to go out, you're listening to this like audio of this like soothing voice saying, I am worthy.
Yeah. I saw that one.
I am okay.
I saw that
I
one.
will be fine.
That
and
is
I'm like,
literally me.
because it's like when you become an adult, it's like, dude, shit just really sometimes like, sometimes it really be feeling like it's just falling apart and you're just like trying to like hold it all together. And
so true.
If you think that there's one person who doesn't have that, doesn't go through that, you're so wrong.
So wrong.
Like everybody has insecurities, self-doubt, all that.
Totally. I want to actually do a TikTok series because I'm one of my goals is to be a little more personal in my TikToks and like maybe I guess share like personal things that I go through, which I I think that's my weak point. Like that's not like something that I do naturally. But yeah, like to talk about my insecurities and stuff and like things that, because I have imposter syndrome. Do you know what imposter syndrome is?
Like you
It's
feel,
not like an actual syndrome.
you
but
feel
it's,
like you're faking.
yes.
Even if you're not.
And the people who are highly competent tend to feel that way. And so it's like in many ways it kind of drives you to like reach success. Like it like you're almost like doing it out of like this anxious like will to like prove that you aren't fake, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, but that's something that is not like a pleasant thing to have to, like, I don't like, you know, in an ideal world I wouldn't want that to be the source for my motivation. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I almost have to, I know that a lot of people like struggle with that too.
Yeah.
So want to just, I don't know, I want to like talk about that more than just a TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these are really good things like you're getting
Yeah.
into. I feel like accounts like yours are, because look, there's like funny, just
Yeah.
brainless content out there, and I enjoy it just as much as the next person.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it's really content that's good for you.
Yeah.
I don't know where I read this, that
That's
after oxygen, content is what we ingest the most.
Are you serious?
And think of content. Content is everything around you.
That's terrifying.
Whether it's music, whether it's advertisement or movies or
Yeah.
social media, like that's all content.
Jesus.
Everything
Yeah.
that's you're watching or hearing or whatever, that's all content. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, the brainless funny stuff, great. But like, you know, every now and then following an account like yours, I think it's really fucking good.
Thanks, man.
You
Thank you
know?
so much for saying that, because I believe the exact same thing. When I first started doing my TikToks, I literally remember when I had like 44 followers on TikTok and I was like trying to figure out what I want to do. And I was like, I found myself when I was going through the TikTok feed, the FYP, that I was the only TikToks that I was like watching to completion without swiping were ones that I was like learning something.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to do this. And yeah, I completely agree, because like our timelines, literally, it's shaping your brain.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you have to be super careful about what you have on your timeline. Like you should start unfollowing things that do not do you good, because there's a lot of stuff that you don't even realize like will shape your not only like your views on life and stuff, but like your views of yourself too, and like how you even treat people, and like it'll literally shape everything. So I try and be like useful and positive and like yeah.
I agree. I had a guy friend who asked me for relationship advice, out of all people. And he was like, yeah, my girlfriend is like telling me to unfollow all these like, you know, models and, you know, like lingerie models I follow on Instagram.
Yeah.
And we got in a really big fight out of that, because I told her, like, nobody tells me what to do. I don't like that. I don't want a girlfriend who's controlling me in my life. And this is a first red flag for me, because it's showing that you're doing that. You're trying to like tell me what to do, what not to do, and trying to control. And we got in a really big fight over that, because like I don't want to. And and he was like, so what do you think? I was like, okay, first of all, you're asking me, which means you think that there is a possibility that you might not be doing the right thing. But secondly, think of it this way. If you bring a girl to your house, you care what your house looks like, right?
Yeah.
You clean it up, you make sure it's presentable, because your home is a representative of who you are, because you spend so much time there. You want to clean it up, you want it to look good.
Right.
That's the same thing as your homepage on your social media, because what you're ingesting all day,
so true.
right? It's like that's the shit you're looking at. Like, if I can look at someone's homepage and not know anything about them, I can put together a pretty good image of what that person is like, because that's the shit you're scrolling. True. That's the content you're ingesting. That's what's feeding your brain all day.
Yes.
So it's more than bikini pictures. It's, oh, this is the type of guy I'm dating. The type of guy that's what he's looking at. Because look, we all scroll. We all like spend time on Instagram and social media, and it's like you grab people's phone and it's like it's beautiful stuff. I'm not saying you should like read all the time. Like my homepage is honestly mostly like psychology reading stuff.
Me too.
It feels like it's not even fun to scroll because I'm constantly reading.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be that. It could just be like beautiful nature. It could be artistic stuff. It could be if you're into cooking, if you're into cars. But it's like if it's right. If it's like if that's what you're looking at, then what does that really say about you?
Yeah, that's a no for me. Like you just realize, you made me realize that that's actually a perfect way to like get a sense of a guy. Like just being like, hey, can I see your homepage?
Mm-hmm.
And like, if
let me
it's
see what you look at.
Yeah, if it's a bunch of girls and just like stupid shit, then like that does not lie. That homepage does not lie. He can lie, but that homepage will not. So
I kind of liked a guy a while ago, and so when you start following someone, then it shows their name whenever like let's say you see a picture and like if someone that you're connected with, it shows that they like that picture.
Yes.
So literally and I like have a bunch of model friends, so I obviously follow them and support them all the time. Yeah. And on all of their pictures, I would see his name liked, and I was like, so that's what your homepage looks like, just like a bunch of models. So I was like, skirt.
That's a no. Skirt for sure. skirt. Yeah,
skirt.
That's a no. I don't know, but that's another, if we're gonna get into dating topic, it's like one of the things that's so hard about dating these days. It's like there's so much access to like an abundance of things
titties
like
and
that.
ass.
Yeah, like just so it's kind of hard to like what guy does not at this point. And I mean I would love for there to be guys to like not be into that stuff, but like it's kind of like I don't know, it's sad. It's like it definitely affects dating.
It does.
Yeah. And so
because
I don't know what else to say about it, but
other than like the point that we just talked about, it's also that you don't want your boyfriend to always be looking at perfect humans.
Yeah.
Because then that makes you a little insecure, because in the back of your mind, you know that, oh, he's seeing these pictures who are not even real representative of these women. Because trust me, I see them in real life.
Yeah. So true. So true.
And it's like, then in your intimate time, that comes to your mind because you're thinking like, what if he's comparing me? That's also another thing. I was having this conversation with one of my psychology professors in class. She was saying that social media is so bad for your mental health because it makes you compare yourself to other people, and that affects your mental health. And I was like, honestly, sure. Mm-hmm. Comparison, thief of joy, 100%. But it's also that that everybody around you is also comparing not just themselves, but you to everyone. So then there is this hierarchy that we all know, right? Yeah. It's like we all know what a really beautiful woman looks like because we see it on our phones all the time.
Right.
Whereas before, people didn't used to know that. They knew their friends, their family, their neighbors, and then they would get a girlfriend who was like really hot, and she would be the only hot person in his circle, and he would be really happy with her. Yeah. But now, because he sees the hottest women all around the world, all around the world, then now you're not just being compared to your radius. Yes. You're being compared to the whole world. Yeah. And you're not just doing that comparison. Everyone's doing that. Yeah. Everyone's doing that to themselves and to each other. And they subconsciously put you in that hierarchy of like, oh, she's kind of there, but like she's kind of there. So, it's just a little unhealthy.
I think that's an excellent point, and I can't even imagine, how these younger kids are faring. And I think that's why you see like young kids now getting like surgery, and it's like, wow, like I had like a pixie cut and braces back in the day, so I don't know what you guys are going through, but I think like there is a silver lining. I think the solution to that I'm seeing kind of like surface is this kind of like fight against that, and like this like fight to be authentic, because that is the brandishing power. Like that's how you offset, trying to be like someone else. I think hopefully we're turning from like aspirational beauty to more like inward, like not literally inward, but like being as authentic as possible, and that's how you differentiate yourself. Like, hopefully we're going in that direction, because I personally, I find it like way more attractive and beautiful when someone is like fiercely authentic and has their own like vibe going, as opposed to someone who you can tell is like trying to be like the someone ideal else, and it's just like, it's just old, like at the end of the day, because we all have a platform now, like anyone can, everyone posts now, like whether or not you do this for a living or not. So it's like the only way at this point to be different and to like have some kind of like bartering power, maybe, I don't know, is to literally just be you.
Yeah.
Which
as
is kind of
cliche
cool.
As that
it's
is,
super cliche and
but
like Hallmark cardy.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be,
be
but
yourself.
That's really,
just be yourself. There's always a just.
Yeah.
Just be yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, you want to say shut the fuck up, but it's the truth.
It's like, so damn true. And it's like funny how so many of these cheesy lines and like we kind of like, we wince at it and we're like, ew, because trust me, like I don't like being like cheesy at all, but it's like there's so much truth to those things, and a lot of us, most of us struggle with those things.
There is a problem with just be yourself, though.
Okay.
Well, there are two problems with it.
I agree, actually.
I wrote an article on this.
Okay.
One is how.
Okay.
Right? Especially when you're young. Like, I definitely feel like I've gotten to know myself more as I'm like getting older, and also like I'm an avid journalist. I like read a lot of psychology. I literally just started a journal today.
Great.
And it's a new one. I already have like 4.
Okay.
And this one is my mental errors. So every time it takes a certain level of awareness. Like, honestly, like whenever you have a thought, you think, why am I having this thought? Where does it come from? How is it serving me?
Love it.
Or not serving me?
Yes.
And so every time I make a mental error, I write it down. So
like
today I wrote one, and I was like, this comes from my dad, because he used to be like that. So now I'm going to be aware of that every time it happens. But so as you get older, you become more self-aware and you get to like know yourself more.
Yeah.
But let's say you're younger and you keep like hearing and reading and seeing just be yourself, and you're like, I don't know who I am. I don't know how to find that out. Especially with all of this like distraction in a way of like, this is what you should be like.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, forget who you are. Yeah, you read it here and there, but this is what we would like you to be. So it's like every time, and it's like every time we do something or we say something, we see how it reflects, right? How people respond to it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when you're authentic, you don't get a good response.
Right.
So then you edit that about yourself, because you're like, this is not likable.
Yes.
So I'm gonna put that hide it in a dark corner.
Right.
Where nobody has to see it anymore.
Yeah.
Because people don't like it.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can you just be yourself if you have all these parts about you that you constantly see are not liked?
Yeah.
So it's like, if you are naturally a likable person, it's easy to just be yourself. But if you have all these like things, which like I'm assuming like a lot of us do, I know I do, there are like all these things about you that you like constantly see you're not getting good response. So then it's like, how do you do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And this is specifically geared towards younger people, right? Who are still acclimating social circle, or just in general, forever.
I think to the day you die, you struggle with, I mean, I'm not nowhere near that age where I can be like, most of my life I've struggled. No. Yeah. But it's like, you always will have those parts about you that are not likable.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever it may be.
Yeah.
The like, whether it's like quirkiness, like there's cute quirkiness, there's marketable quirkiness, and then there's like
socially acceptable quirkiness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then there's quirkiness that's like,
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, like don't want to be around you.
And you see people pull away, and we take a mental note of all the things that like people don't like. We're such like social animals. Like, when you take a mental note of like all these fundamental things about you that you see people don't like, then how can you be yourself?
This is a very philosophical question. Yeah, and I think it's so great and it's healthy to really think about things from this kind of like pure perspective that's like very unbiased, because at the end of the day, you're right. Like, you know, what because this leads me to ask, what is like the best version of yourself? Then technically, the best version of yourself is like your most socially accepted, sexually too, I guess, but socially accepted or liked version of yourself, because that's what gets you the best, you know, response, right? And that's what makes you have like a greater quality life at the end of the day, because we don't live in isolation at the end of the day. Like, we live to connect, we live in a community, we live in relation to others, we're like social beings inherently. So it's like, yeah, I guess like a kind of a starkly honest way of thinking or viewing what your best version of yourself is really like this kind of edited version of yourself throughout the years, which is like, that's an amazing, honestly amazing point. I would have never thought of it that way.
Yeah, it's always like, just be yourself, but not like that.
Yeah. You
know?
But then I think when you reach like this kind of master level, when you've gotten to understand, you know, like yourself more and like social stuff more, it's like being able to introduce those aspects to yourself in a more socially acceptable way still, though. But like the things that are maybe not so socially acceptable, because I'm sure other people also have those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like those imperfections that can also be, you know, initially maybe not likable, but then can be marketable, like you said. Marketable, like, it's so true. Yeah, because at the end of the day, like, we are social beings. Like, we kind of do have to like play ball.
You do.
Yeah,
if you don't want to end up alone.
Yeah, you don't want to end up alone or in jail or
because there are so many people that are like, it's like you could go either way. There are people that are extremely people pleasing and they will bend themselves all the way to be what everybody else wants them to be. And then there are the people who are like, I am this way. Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
And those are both bad.
They're both bad, and they're both likable in their own way, though. But they're both not likable sometimes. Yeah. It's
you have to
like,
find a sweet spot.
It really is. That's why it's like this, you know, it's this masterful kind of like, there's like an art to it. And a lot of it, I think, is intuition too. But
it's kind of like a negotiation that you're making with your environment. You know, it's like your environment tells you, these are the things we don't like about you. And then you sit and you think about those and you're like, okay, let's negotiate.
Yes, totally. Right? That's so true. Like, you also want to create your own reality. Right. You don't want to succumb to the environment completely. Exactly. Yes.
So then you start negotiating. You're like, okay, this thing that you're saying you don't like, I feel like I can change it, I can improve it, I can make it better. This other thing that you're saying you don't like, I can't change it.
Yes, you're not going to compromise. Yes, and I love that.
And I'm sorry, like this part of me you have to accept. This part of me, I will try to do a little better.
I love it.
Right?
I'm loving this energy. This energy that Pani has right now, this look on her face is so like, take it or leave it. And I love it. Yeah, it's so true. And that is so likable. People find that aspirational. Yeah, nobody wants someone who's going to like only do what everyone wants. Like, that's kind of lame, right?
It's kind of like a relationship, right? Like, you get in a relationship and you're like, let's compromise, right? Like, you want to do this, I want to do this. Maybe we can like do something in the middle. Maybe I can give a little, you can give a little. Just like the same thing. Everything is a negotiation, right?
Totally. That's so true. Negotiation is such a great theme for so many things. Yeah.
A really good book on negotiation is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Yeah, he used to be a FBI hostage negotiator.
Yes.
And that's a good book.
Okay.
He like has a master class on negotiation. He also like talks about it all the time. He says like, whenever you want something, that's a negotiation.
Right.
Right there and then.
What is his, I guess, like nutshell philosophy on it? Like, does he believe in negotiation? Obviously.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's all about that.
He believes everything is a negotiation.
Okay. Oh, I didn't mean negotiation. I meant compromise. Like, you know, people have different, I think, views on compromise. Like, some people think compromise doesn't get either parties happy or
what? Who the hell thinks that?
I don't know. I've heard that.
What?
I've heard that before.
So what do they do? They just like
I don't
my
know.
way or the highway?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess,
Jesus.
yeah. And it's kind of like an extreme approach, I guess. But he's all about compromise, I guess, right?
He's about negotiation. He also like knows a lot of psychology and different ways to manipulate, especially in his like, you know, like work. Obviously, like a lot of it really is manipulating.
It is.
You know? And
garnering trust, you know, like trying to get them to trust you enough to
and
say something.
Like I have tried many of his tactics on my professors like at school. And I'm not saying 100% of the time they work.
Okay.
But a lot of time they work. A lot of time they work.
Can you share one?
Yeah, here's my favorite.
Okay.
Here's my favorite. When you want to ask for something, ask it in this format.
Okay.
Are you against doing this? Because people don't want to be against something because that sounds so like, you know, harsh, you know?
Yeah.
So like a lot of times, like with like last semester, I was really struggling with one of my classes, statistics. Having to learn statistics online was bullshit.
Right.
And I was like doing terribly bad. I passed the class with barely a C, thank God. Okay. But it was a lot of that got me to pass the class. It was a lot of, I would have 100% failed that class. Okay. If I didn't use so many of those tactics on my poor professor.
Oh my gosh, I love you like are actually using these in real life. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's important because it's like you read them and then you forget them.
Yeah.
You know?
The whole point is to use it in real life.
Apply it. Yeah. And so a lot of times I would be like, would you be against me like taking this exam again? Would you be against giving me a second chance? And she's like, well, I'm not against it, you know, because she's like, she wants to help me.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be against me, you know?
Oh, would you be against
this? So it's like you're playing kind of like on their like empathetic side.
Empathy. Yeah. Yes,
right.
That's huge.
So it's
people do that all the time.
So you're basically saying, are you against helping me?
Yeah.
And people don't want to say no to that.
People like to feel like they're helping.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. I love that. That's a sneaky hack right there.
Yeah. I hope she doesn't hear that.
I know, right? Busted.
Oh, that would be so funny.
Yeah, that would be. Wait, so how long have you been in school for?
Oh, forever.
So cool. Oh my gosh.
And it's not about to change. It's not about to change or finish anytime soon.
Oh man. You must like it though. Do you enjoy it?
I like it now that I'm studying psychology. I was studying political science for 3 years.
Oh God.
I was 4 months away from going to law school. That was my plan. Took the LSAT, everything, tested it out. It's 3 years of political science. Like I thought that's for sure what I'm gonna do. That's why I got pushed back a little. Changed my school from USC and changed my major from political science to psychology.
Okay.
And I'm a lot happier.
Yeah.
A lot happier.
You have to be happy in what you're studying, you know? Like
I
truly and what you're doing. I truly feel like psychology or just, you know, personal development, all this kind of cool stuff. It's like something I will never ever get tired of reading about.
What did you study?
I went to communications.
Oh, yeah,
I was in communications, yeah. So, like, it was, like, kind of, like, a mixture of, like, journalism, like, advertising, film. Like, we kind of, did, like, a bunch of topics. But, yeah. Very, like, writing stuff. Like, I love
Did you know that you want to, like, go into broadcasting?
No, not at all. That I kind of fell into that, to be honest. They kind of scouted me to be, like, the weather woman. I mean, like, maybe just based off of like my physical appearance, you know, initially, which is like, okay. But then, so I developed like my talking style, I guess, from doing that, from being like a presenter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it definitely like helped you with what you're doing. So what you do, like you're a content creator now.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I bet that definitely helped though a lot.
1,000%. Like I said, you know, I was the person who would get a little bit of the shakes before speaking in front of the class.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy how I went from that to doing like, you know, live shows pretty much every day.
Yeah.
On like a TV network, and then now doing TikToks, which is like, you know, it's not live or anything.
Yeah.
But it's still, me talking, I guess.
So here's something I'm curious about, and like, share if you're comfortable, but it's
Yeah.
like, as someone who does content creating like full time,
Yeah.
how do you make a living out of that? Like, is it just like brand deals, or how does it work?
It's brand deals.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, people use their platform to then launch their own, products or businesses, services, but I'm not at that point yet, but I do want to get into that at some point, because I think this area that I am creating content in is such it's experiencing immense growth right now. Yeah, it's huge opportunity, I think, because it's something that everyone can relate to. And like, I think we should be creating more products in this area, like whether it's apps or like even like physical products, like, things that help with sleep or stress or and it's also really cool because it's very tech savvy. It's like either it's an app or it's like actual tech products, which is like, because I think people have concentrated so much on physical health before, but it's like you really need to like start thinking about your your not just mental health, but like mental wellness, because I come from the philosophy that like if you prevent things, you don't have to wait for it to become like a mental health issue. Like if you know how to maintain your mental wellness, it's like mental wellness, right? Then like you're just like the best version of yourself. And you don't have to like deal with, well, everyone I think should go to therapy at some point, just because it's like it's good to have someone to talk to and to like and a professional to kind of like sift through your brain a little bit.
It also really helps to just like put your thoughts into words. A lot of times once you start talking about all the things that go inside your head, it's like you have these thoughts, but like, have you noticed sometimes like we interrupt one thought with another thought? It's like you don't actually like think it through and like finish one thought and then have another one. It's like it's just like this crowded crowded, so it's like
it's also like you have thoughts going on at the same time, so they're not fully formed. Whereas if you speak out loud, I always say that too, like, like talk out loud to yourself or write it out, because like you'll be writing things that you're like, oh, I didn't even know that I was thinking this, like I didn't even know. And it's the best way to like just gain clarity.
Your shit out.
Like gain clarity.
And like what a good therapist, what they do is they never give you advice. They never tell you what to do. They keep asking you questions because you have the answers within you.
I love that.
So they only ask you questions, and they just ask you to keep talking and keep digging and keep explaining. Once you put those thoughts and feelings into words, most of the time you will get to the answer yourself.
It's so true.
You genuinely don't want someone to tell you what to do. Ever.
No.
Ever. No matter how wise they are, people will always project their own experiences.
That's so true.
Into what they tell you.
Man, you're so right. You're actually reminding me that I have to be very cognizant of that, because sometimes I'll catch myself kind of like, in like a good effort of trying to like give my best advice, but sometimes I'm like, maybe I'm not wording it as a question. I'm kind of like being like, this is what you should do.
I do that
but that's not, you're right, you're so right. And as soon as you start doing that too much, you get annoying. You become obnoxious.
I tend to be like that too. And it's like, I know that exists, and I still, because it's like,
I don't like it when people do it to me.
I know.
Yeah, so.
It's just like in the moment when someone tells you something, also a lot of times is like, first of all, like, you just know that if that was to happen to you, that would be what you would do. And it's so hard to pull yourself out of things. Like, I don't know what it is about us. Like, it's always about us, everything. It's like, their situation is different than you, whatever it is. If it's a relationship, whatever it is. You have to always, like, if you want to give good advice, you just, like, keep asking people, well, how does that make you feel? Or, like, what do you think about that? Or, like, how do you wish they would have, like, framed it? Or, like, how would you, you can direct people to get to the answer themselves. Like, that's what a good therapist does.
Absolutely. And like I said, this is like a huge reminder for me to remember to do that. Sometimes I feel like I want to just get to the answer, so I'll just like say it.
And it seems so like, obvious to you, right?
Yeah, but it's like it may not be their answer. Yeah, you're not them. So, that's a great reminder.
That's what a good therapist does. And then there are therapists. one of my friends' cousin had trouble in her marriage and went to a therapist. And do you know what the therapist told her?
What? Some therapists suck.
When she told me this, I was so angry.
Oh my God.
I was ready to revoke her license.
Yeah.
I was like, this is, I don't know if it's a loss. I don't know what this is, but it's the most terrible advice a therapist could give.
What was it?
So she's been in a marriage with a guy that was just really, really bad for her.
Okay.
And they've been having terrible, immense amounts of problems that you could possibly imagine.
Okay.
She's the only one who's trying to save it, goes to a therapist. The therapist tells her, have a child. Having a child will help you figure your problems out.
Oh my gosh.
So now she's divorced with a child.
Oh, that is fucking...
What a fucking idiot.
That is stupid AF. Like,
just bring another person into it.
Yeah, like what world you come from? That's like it seems like that's from like the 40s or something.
Yeah,
or
that's
like the 50s.
That's what grandmas used to like tell. Just like have a child.
Outdated. That is so unfair to the child.
I know. No, he just like doesn't have a dad.
Yeah, that's not chill.
Yeah, that's the thing about finding therapists though, is like you really have to find a good one.
Yeah, totally.
But the tools are available.
Yes.
The tools are available. If you want to do it yourself, it's not that hard. You pick up maybe 3 books that will like really help you with what you need help, and you write shit down.
Yeah.
As we said,
that
you can help yourself.
That's actually how I think I learned the best. There's a word for it, and I think it's called like biblio something like therapy. Like mean? Literally, it's like it's the act of like seeking help through reading, like through educating, like becoming literate in a topic. But then we get into this like, you know, self-diagnosis territory that could be dangerous.
True.
But like I find it, I find myself in a very comfortable space when I'm able to just read about a topic and I feel like that's what I do pretty much for my content. I just like read and interpret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, how much time do we have, or how much time has it been? An hour and 40 minutes we've been talking? No way. Wow.
An hour 40,
I thought maybe it's been like 50 minutes. I was like, we should probably wrap this up. Holy shit. Yeah, well, this has been so great.
I love this.
This was so cool. I had so much fun.
Yeah, like so much fun. I'm so glad we're finally meeting IRL.
Yes. What's IRL?
In real life.
Oh.
I love abbreviations. I'm so basic.
LOL.
Yeah. Lols.
All right. Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. I love this. I'm going to be back when you get Robert Greene on. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be here. I'll be in the corner. Lurking.
We might even have you in the conversation.
Okay. Amazing. Oh, my God. That would be literally a dream.
All right, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Move with the rhythm, shake it up, stop when the clock hits 13. You've been working, but you're flirting with the weekend. You can freak out.